Hi, I'm Joseph. Today I'm going to show you how you can unify your cyber fraud defense. It's important so that you can be able to align your diverse teams, communicate with executives with clarity, and also stay on top of ever-evolving cyber fraud threats. I've used this method to unlock a project which was gridlocked for 6 months. After aligning and using the method that I'm going to show you today, the product team, software engineering team, both the front end and back end, the fraud operation, cybersecurity, and also customer service teams were able to align, unlocking tremendous progress after quite a long time. So today, we are going to look into three things. First, we look at the core challenges in achieving cyber fraud alignment in today's complex environment. And then we'll break down the core components and the structured thinking that will help us to align the teams. And third, we'll highlight the benefits of achieving this cyber fraud alignment. And at the end of the session, I've got a resource for you. It's Cyber Fraud Threat Clarity Canvas that will help you to implement the methods that we are going to learn today. So stick around. So let's jump right in. Just so that we are on the same page, when I talk about cyber fraud, I mean computer targeting attacks. Modern cyber frauds, they target the human making decision processes. They exploit psychology, trust, and established business processes. Think about synthetic identity fraud. After a data breach has happened, the fraudsters, they use those data pieces and create completely new and fabricated identities and use them to defraud banks. Billions have been lost. Banks and different institutions. Think about account takeovers. Data from the data breaches with passwords and usernames can be used to attack people's accounts, draining their bank accounts and causing harm or using products without paying. Think about business email compromise or ransomware. The losses from these are tremendous. But also there is operation downtime, the loss of customer trust, and reputational damage. The biggest hurdle organizations are facing are not only the threats, but achieving internal alignment. So why is this difficult? First, the threat is evolving. The fraudsters are always improving their tactics. They're learning new ways and they're adopting the new technologies. There's also the expanding threat landscape. As businesses are introducing new technologies, moving to the cloud, working remotely, adopting AI and generative AI, the threat landscape is also increasing. The other reason is lack of clarity and unquantified fear. Many leaders, they feel the threat, but they fail to articulate what is a possible impact of the threat. They fail also to quantify the threat. In that regard, they are not able to justify their investments in combating new threats. The other is the nature of the teams, that they see the problem differently. The people in IT, in finance, in HR, they have a stake in the problem, but they see it in a different way. And so they're speaking different languages, which makes them not aligned. It reminds me of the story of the elephant and the blind man. By design, the teams are not supposed to do everything, so they can't see the big elephant. That's understandable. It's by design. But there has to be a way that we can help them to achieve alignment so they see the same problem and pull in the same direction. So to overcome these silos and achieve alignment, everyone needs to be looking at the same picture. There has to be a shared, clear understanding of each specific threat. Now, to get that clarity, we need to define 4 components and agree on them for every specific threat. These components are: first, the asset. What is the key asset that is valuable to the organization? Is valuable to everyone. Next is the threat actors themselves. It's important to know who is against or is interested or can find value in that asset. Then we need to know about the method. What kind of method are they using to attack or to gain access to that asset in a way that is not allowed, so to speak? And lastly, we need to be able to quantify the business impact, not only the financial losses, but also the production downtime, the reputational risk, and so forth. So in order to structure our thinking, we have developed the cyber fraud threat clarity canvas. And I'm going to walk you through this canvas. The canvas has got 3 parts. The first is a name. We need to be specific. What is the threat scenario that we are interested in? Let's take an example of the business email compromise, the CEO variant threat. And then there is a scenario clarity. This is where we define the what, the who, the how, and the so what. So first, the what is the asset that business email compromise threat actors are interested in. It might be some sensitive information, it might be a payment system, or some other thing that could be of value to the organization and to the threat actors. Next, we need to understand and agree upon the threat actors. Are they just opportunistic individuals? Is it organized crime? And what are their capabilities? What are their motives? Is it just to financial gain? Or they want to disrupt the business? They want to sabotage or something like that. And then we need to understand their method. What kind of method are they using to achieve their goal in the business email threat? Are they using social engineering, for example, or they are spear phishing, pretending to be the email, the CEO? We need to be clear about the method that these threat actors are attacking our system. And last but not least, the impact, the business impact. What is potentially possible to be lost if the threat is successful? So not only financial. Think about operation downtime. Think about reputation loss, customer trust loss. All these could be accounted for and agreed upon in the impact that the threat could be on a business. So once we walk through this, we can be able to achieve the key components. We know the who, we know the what, we know the how, and we know the so what. But that's not enough. The last component we want to do is what we call the alignment pathways. This one has got 3 columns that we need to work on. The first one is the stakeholders. We need to identify who are the stakeholders that will be impacted by this threat. For example, not only the IT department, include the finance department, the HR department, the executive. They all need to be part of the stakeholders that can be impacted by this threat, for example. Then we need to go to the next column, which is called the attention. What in particular and in line with their business objective is something that they're going to need to pay attention. So for example, the CFO needs to know that the payment system is vulnerable, or the emergency fund policy, they could be attacked. The HR, they need to know there's a need to bring awareness to employee about the BEC fraud. And all the other teams need to specifically find out, and in a collaborative way, what are the things that they need to be made aware of. And then after that, we need to call them to action. What are the specific measurable actions that they need to take? Do they need to prioritize something? They need to own something? They need to initiate something? Or they need to support something? For example, the CFO maybe they need to implement double approval for any wire transfer which is above, let's say, $50,000 or more, whatever number that is agreed upon. Or they need to revise the images fund policies. The HR, perhaps they need to roll out that BC training to employee by Q3. So all these are measurable actions that each team need to take. When this is worked upon collaboratively, the teams will achieve the needed alignment. Each one will see the importance of their part and how it works together with the other parts and thus they can achieve alignment. So what are the benefits of using this method? First of all, you gain clarity. There's clarity on the threat and an impact to the business. This clarity has got cascading effects. It brings communication confidence. You can be able to communicate clearly. That unquantified fear disappears because now there is clarity on what is the threat and how to handle it. Also, you're in a stronger position, gain buy-in from executives and justify the investments. Also, the teams can be easily aligned and see the value. Waste can be removed if there are teams who are doing the same thing. The other thing is about regulatory posture. Once there's an incident, it's easier to justify the company's position to regulators that this threat was known, everything that was possible to be done was done in order to protect the assets and the business, and so that the investors are not getting losses. I hope this session was valuable. We have discussed about what are the challenges that the challenges in bringing alignment in cyber fraud team. We also have break down the components that can help us to bring alignments, and we show the structured thinking to bring to the table in order to bring that alignment. And also we touch upon the benefits that can be achieved. I hope you found this useful. And then, as I promised, there is a resource for you which you can download right away and start implementing these methods. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.